You look a little stressed. Are you flying from home or flying to it? I looked at the middle-aged man beside me, twisted in his seat with a wedding ring glinting under the harsh cabin lights. He had the distinct air of someone expecting me to be his spoken-word entertainment for the entire flight to Ohio. I would have paid a hefty surcharge if a "no assholes beside me" pass existed. My skin felt too tight, a symptom of the hunger that always simmered beneath the surface, prickling like static electricity against the cheap fabric of the seat. The recycled air tasted stale, and the low drone of the engines was a grating hum against my heightened senses. "I'm just going to look out the window for a bit," I mumbled, turning away. It was a classic Lillian avoidance strategy, a defense mechanism I'd honed long before my biology decided to rewrite itself into something predatory. Fortunately, he took the hint, leaving me to stare at the endless sea of clouds and mentally workshop how I was going to handle my parents. My hometown. I'd hooked up with an airline stewardess in an airport bathroom an hour before boarding, a frantic, desperate encounter just in case there was a mix-up at my hometown's SIA branch. The hunger was a bottomless pit, especially when anxiety was shoveling coal into its furnace. A fretful thought surfaced. What if I try for a hookup at a local bar and someone remembers me? I was a loser in high school, wasn't I? The plane touched down with a jolt that rattled my teeth. I had plans, backup plans, and alternatives ready to go. But the variable I hadn't accounted for, the one that made my heart hammer against my ribs, was the reception committee waiting just beyond the jet bridge. Not my parents, not yet. Ezra stood like a cliff face against the tide of disembarking passengers, tall and broad in a way that his tailored suit struggled to contain. His eyes were the color of slate, his jawline sharp enough to cut glass. Beside him was Silas, a creature of deceptive ease. Where Ezra was stone, Silas was water, fluid, leaning against a pillar with a lazy grin, his amber eyes tracking every movement until they locked onto me. My SIA handlers, my protectors, my complication. "Consultant," Ezra greeted with a nod, his voice a low rumble that vibrated pleasantly in my chest. "You guys didn't have to wait right at the gate," I hissed, adjusting my carry-on. "You look like you're about to arrest me." "We prefer the term aggressively chaperone," Silas teased, falling in a step beside me. His arm brushed mine, and the contact sent a jolt of pure heat through my jacket that had nothing to do with the stuffy terminal. Besides, Section 8 protocols. "Value asset in a non-secure zone. We don't let you out of our sight, Lil. My parents are picking me up at baggage claim," I whispered frantically. "What are you supposed to be, my coworkers, colleagues?" Ezra stated, his gaze constantly scanning the perimeter. "We're here for a software engineering conference. We happen to be on a similar flight schedule." "Conference on what?" Menacing glares and tactical fashion. Silas chuckled, his voice like warm honey. "I know what a python is." "It's a coding language, Silas, not a snake. See, I'm learning." We reached the baggage claim, and all my practiced bravery evaporated when I saw Mom waving from her car just outside the sliding glass doors. Panic clawed at me. "Don't cry, don't panic." "Showtime," Silas whispered, his hand ghosting over the small of my back. It was meant to be steadying, but it just made my body hyper-aware of how long it had been since I'd felt a touch that wasn't purely transactional. I ran over and hugged her. She seemed a little older, but she still smelled like home. "It's good to see you," Mom said, wiping a tear. "Your sister should arrive in a few minutes." I introduced them. "Mom, this is Ezra and Silas. They work with me in Chicago." Ezra shook her hand with polite, terrifying intensity. "Mrs. P, it's a pleasure. Lillian speaks highly of you." "Oh, aren't you too handsome?" Mom beamed. "You look like you play football." "Typing builds heavy wrists, ma'am," Silas lied smoothly. When Anne finally arrived, dropping her bags to hug me, I spun her around, desperate for a moment of normalcy. But as we packed the car, the reality set in. I was a demon sitting on a secret that could shatter this family. And I had two incredibly dangerous, incredibly attractive men shadowing my every move, watching me with a hunger that mirrored my own. "You okay?" Ezra murmured as I closed the trunk, his body shielding me from the wind. "No," I admitted, my voice small. "I feel like a grenade with the pin pulled." "We won't let you explode," he promised. But as I looked at the darkening sky and felt the familiar, hollow ache in my stomach, I wasn't sure he could keep that promise.
Want to keep the flame ignited without having to wait for the next part? You can find the full, tantalizing tale on our main page. See the link in the description.